So, a very good evening to all of you. My name is Abhishek, and today we are here at the week 12 of our course Understanding Incubation and Entrepreneurship. Well, to tell, I mean, it has been a very long journey. 12 weeks journey is quite long, and we have been doing it for quite some weeks as of now. And up till now we have covered a major part of the syllabus, and today we have just the last week for which we are meeting here to discuss any issues with respect to the week 12 content, and to understand, I mean, what and how to go about the course content, the content recap, and then finally trying to address some of the week specific questions which we have been doing in all these weeks. So as of now, I mean, just to tell you how the structure has been in all our courses. So we have been conducting live sessions every Saturday 5 to 7, but because of certain scenario we have preponed it to Friday for this particular session itself. And but the timings are same, the link are same. So we are expecting if some more learners could join in for this particular session. uh, Meanwhile, as we have been doing in past weeks, we'll follow the same organization of our uh, week specific live session, wherein what we do is that we kind of run through an introductory part of a slide, which has been like a protocol, assuming that if there are some new learners who are joining the live session for the very first time. So for them, we follow a particular run through, and going ahead, what we do is that we have, since last week I've added a new section of content recap. So I've been using it for quite a few weeks, but however, in the previous versions, if you see, the content recap was uh, after the 10 set of questions which we usually discuss. But going down the line, I realized that it's happening that the learners are not able to get time to see the content, and without the content to even attempt any questions which is specific to the week becomes a challenge, right? So what we have done is that the content recap is something which we have added, and it has been added before our uh, what we say, the set of 10 questions. So the 10 questions which we which are week specific, which are similar to the typology of the questions which are there in your assignment section, we have added those set of 10 questions. And the idea is that to make you all familiar with what kind of questions might come, and how to attempt them. Okay, so that has been our prime goal since quite a long time. And what also we'll be doing is that after the content recap, we will attempt 10 set of questions. These 10 set of questions are similar to the week wise assignment, but they are a different set of questions which will help you in terms of understanding what typology the question might come in the examinations as well. Okay, and then we have a last section which we usually follow is the questions from discussion forum. Although there have not been any new questions added in the discussion forum, but what we always do is that whatever set of questions we have had in past, we will go through those set of questions. So that remains our protocol of the presentation for today as well. We have got Miss Poonam who have joined the meeting. Hello, ma'am. May I know a brief about yourself? If you are there and if you can speak. पूनम जी, आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है? I'm not getting any feedback from Miss Poonam. Okay, that's not an issue. So what I'll do is I'll share my entire screen, and we'll start our presentation set. Great. So I hope my screen is visible. Puramji, if you can tell if it is visible or not, if anybody else is there, is my screen visible? Are you able to see my screen? Okay, okay, okay. So I've got messages from ma'am. Okay. Poonam ji is a student from Purnima University, Jaipur. I'm pursuing BCA. It's great, great. So that is fine, ma'am. It's good to know you. I mean, if you can also mention, how is this, whether this is your first session or not, and up till now, were you able to attempt the week-wise assignments, and how it has been going for you? Okay, so just you can type these things, and once I take a pause from the presentation, we can actually and if you're able to work out on your mic and you're able to speak, please just unmute and speak, so that we have some live conversations as well, since it's a live session. Okay, so yeah, the screen is visible. Great. All right, just check this is the place. Okay. So hello once again, everyone. So as you all are aware that this is our week 12. This is the final week, and we have been there since last 11 weeks, and probably this is the third month which we are meeting in. Although we started in July, August, September, October. So this is basically the fourth month which we are interacting. So, welcome to week 12. The course name is Understanding Incubation and Entrepreneurship. The course instructor is Professor V.K. Chakravarti sir, who is from the IDC School of Design at IIT Bombay. My name is Abhishek Srivastav. I am basically the TA for this particular course. And previously, if you talk about my background, I have worked at companies like Infosys, Think Design, and I had a brief tenure at my own startup, which I was working as a part of design consultancy. And after that, I started teaching. I taught at multiple institutions, design institutions, and currently I am doing my PhD at IIT Roorkee. So that is my very brief introduction, and I would like to be. I would also say sorry that the session was scheduled for Saturday, but due to some reason we had to prepone it. So that is why the session is happening today, which is on a Friday. Otherwise, the session we're having, we were conducting the sessions only on the Saturdays. Okay. All right. Okay. So, starting with the general agenda, we are here to help you in the current run of courses, which basically means that we have been seeing the week-wise lecture content, which are being uploaded every week, right from week 0 to week 12. And what is also happening simultaneously is that we are having the live sessions which are conducted every week, which is basically a 2-hour session wherein we discuss the week specific assignment. All right. What we also do is we look at the content. We do a content recap. What we also do is we answer any of the questions if there are any doubts which are there, and we also solve week specific assignments. Okay. Now, what do you mean by week specific assignments? And a set of 20 questions which are other than the live assignment. Okay. So there has been certain doubts and ambiguity that whether the live assignments will be discussed or not. But just to clear out those small doubts, live assignments are not discussed. I mean, we can discuss it post the evaluation is done, That is the only clause, only post evaluation, right? We can discuss those live assignments, but since these are primarily to evaluate you, to mark you, and this will be counted in the final marks of, when you are appearing for the examination. So we will not, so for example, if we are discussing week 12, week specific questions, so it will not be the live assignment which is there in week 12, wherein you still have certain timeline to complete and submit the assignment. Okay, so I hope that part is clear. We also respond to the queries of discussion forum. This is a great platform which has been offered by the NPTEL team, and wherein all the learners of this particular course, which means basically the course specific learners are a part of this. So if you have any question, it gets informed to the entire people who are a part of this course. And like I said, we will also be doing the content recap. It's just like a recap, which is in a very brief format. And what we do is we add some screenshots, snippets, to give you a flavor of you know what happened in the lecture video. Okay, so that is basically the idea. I mean, many a times the situation is that you are not able to go through the entire lecture, which are approximately greater than 2 hours. So we do a snippet journey of it, and we try to run through the entire lecture content in a imagery form, wherein we touch points the major highlights of the video sessions. All right, sorry. All right. So during the live sessions, we follow a certain protocol wherein everybody is required to be on mute. The idea is that we are recording the sessions, and these sessions, once recorded, are put up on YouTube, and hence we request everybody to keep yourselves on mute, so that there are lesser voice disturbances, and we get a better audio quality on the entire video. Also, if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and speak, so that is perfectly fine. And you can also use the chat option, but instead of chat option, I always prefer that the learner use discussion forum. And if you are new to this, let me tell you that this discussion forum is basically a functionality which is available in the Ask a Question tab. Okay, so you can click on this tab if you have any questions. All right, and it will be posted on a NPTEL discussion forum, which is a discussion forum, Google discussion forum, and it basically comprises of three main stakeholders. One is obviously the learners. We also have people from the NPTEL team, and we also have me being the TA. So the whatever you post in discussion forum is something which reaches out to all these three players, or rather the members of the discussion forum. So if you have any questions and you post it, everybody can actually go through it, and there might be other learners who might be facing the same question, so it becomes really really helpful in a peer learning environment, that a question posted there might be answering a lot of people. And even it helps me as well as the NPTEL team, in the sense that if there is a question which is also resonating with the other members, and if I post my answer to it, then each and every member of this particular group, which is the Understanding, Incubation and Entrepreneurship group, will actually be able to see my response. Okay, so the query will be addressed for all the learners who are a part of this group. Okay, so I think it's a great functionality, a great feature which has been incorporated by the NPTEL team, and it's always great to leverage that. Right. So, hello, Suja sir. Good to see you. Welcome
Hello,
to
sir. Hello. Yeah.
welcome to our session. And today we are basically having the last session of week-wise content. And but what we'll also do is that we'll have one more session, which will be the next week, and it will be an extra session, but the duration will be just 1 hour session. The idea is just to get a understanding from the learners, and it will be more like a interactive session. It's more like a closure session. So if somebody has any questions above all the week wise content, we can actually have a look there. So proceeding with our presentation. Okay. So, like I said, that we are recording the sessions, and these recordings are available on YouTube. So, anybody who actually is not available or doesn't have time, or there are certain other constraints, you can actually go through the YouTube link, and wherein all these sessions are recorded and are being uploaded. When I say all these sessions, we are basically saying that all week wise, week specific live sessions. And what we also do is that the entire presentation, which is the annotated presentation, we also upload it in the form of PDF, which is also accessible here. Okay. So if you want to access both of them, the best way is that you click here. When you click here, there will be a link which will say again click here. So you click there, and it will open a Excel sheet. And this Excel sheet will basically be having all the details of week-wise sessions. You have YouTube links and one shared drive folder, which will have the locations of all the PDFs, which are basically these presentations uploaded at one place. Okay. So I think it's always good that before your final examination, if you have time, just go through the presentation, because even that presentations have a lot of richness, a lot of new questions, which are other than the previous year's assignments as well. Okay. But these are week specific, so you might get something which is quite relevant and helpful in your final examination. Going ahead, I think by now everybody knows that what we are going through is a course titled Understanding Incubation and Entrepreneurship. The course instructor is Professor VK Chakravarti sir, who is from the IITC School of Design, which is within IIT Bombay, and he has been also playing an active role in the DIC of IIT Bombay, which is basically the Design Innovation Center. So many of the case studies also which have been mentioned, if you remember, like the I think the Solar Ravana was also a part of Design Innovation Center, and even the Palki project. So if I am correct, so if you see, I mean, there is a very significant role which the DIC is playing in terms of taking up projects which are required, needed, in the society, and they are being taken up and they are being solved as well. The problems are being solved through that. So the entire course duration was 12 weeks, and the course end date was 14th of October. The week 12 assignment, which is the last assignment, is on 18th of October. That's the deadline. So if you are opted for this course for credits and certificate, it's important that each and every assignments are being submitted before the deadline, because once the deadline passes, it will become it won't you won't be allowed to submit those assignments, right? Because we release the answer key to that. The final examination date is 28th of October, and there are two slots to it. The final examination will be done physically, or you can also say in an offline format, where you will have to go to a designated center, or you can say designated exam center. You'll have to attempt the paper, and the paper, now since we have got the typology of exam, so I can clearly say that the exam will be held in a computer based exam. So it's not a paper pen exam, it is a computer based exam wherein you will have the MCQs. You might also have essay type of questions, or you might have, fill in the blank questions. So these could be the possible typology of questions which might be there in your final exam. So it's a computer based exam, it won't be a physical examination. So this is an update which has also been, put up by the NPTEL team in the announcements section. Okay, so you can actually go there and you can also refer to that. All right. Now coming to this part, this is the basic platform, post login, and course specific. So now if you see, I mean, this percentage would be much higher than this. This is an old screenshot, and you have unit wise progress, and then within below this you also have a evaluation or assessment scores, which are graded out of 100. So you can actually see all of your previous marks if you have duly submitted your assignments. Okay, so this basically section comes within progress tab. Okay, so when you click on progress, you'll be able to see the entire progress. Whatever you have downloaded, whatever assignments you have submitted, all the evaluations of that would be made available to you. So you can actually see, how well you have been performing. How is your week wise, performance towards all the assignments which have been posted. Great. So I've got a reply from Ms. Poonam, and so welcome, Poonam. It's good to know that this is your first problem solving session, but it is the last problem solving session. But it's good that you have come to at least one of these sessions, and you have been submitted all your weekly assignments. That's great. Yeah, the last one we do have time left, so till 18th you can actually submit that last assignments. Great. And all those yes, correct. I mean, all these case studies, all these projects, they have a lot of value in it, and in our journey towards incubation and entrepreneurship, I think this carry immense weightage and value, which we can learn from. People are also sharing their mistakes, their suggestions. So I think it has a lot of rich content if somebody is actually planning to pursue entrepreneurship. So thank you so much, Poonam, for replying that. All right. Now coming to this part, now this becomes really important because a lot of students have been a part of this journey, and students are primarily doing it for a purpose of academic fulfillment of credits. Okay, so there are certain number of credits which they will get once they pass the exam successfully. Okay, so if you meet the given criteria, which we'll be discussing later in this slides, you'll understand that all those who pass and who have registered for the examination will be receiving a certificate. However, this course is open to anybody who is a seeker, who wants to learn from the content. So even if you enroll, you will be able to see the entire content. All the videos, all these things will be made available. However, if you do not pay the examination fee, you will not be allowed to appear for examination. So examination is a must in order to receive a certificate. Okay, we'll come to the evaluation criteria and marking. All right. Now, I usually explain this slide quite a lot, but it's important one, so I do it each and every time. When we meet. So you've got three assessment processes. Third one is basically an amalgamation of first two. So you've got internal, you've got external, which are summing up to the final assessment. Okay. Now internal assessment basically means all the weekly assignments. All right. So we have been having week 1 to week 12. So there were total 8 set of assignments. However, we are giving the leverage of evaluating the best 5. Okay. So of these, we'll take the best 5. Sorry, the best 8. I'm so sorry. The best 8 of them. Best 8 out of 12. Because there could be a possibility that you cannot perform well in each and every assignment. There could be certain follow-ups. So we'll take best 8, and these will be evaluated out of 25%. Then you have the external assessment, which is your physical form of examination, which will be conducted in a designated center, exam center. So since it is a physical examination, you will be going there. You will not be having the freedom of going through the content again. So that is why the weightage is more, 75%. See the difference. I mean, if you see the internals, you have got a lots of flexibility. By now, I think those who have been submitting, they would be, acknowledge that they would be able to acknowledge that. So flexibility in terms of you can submit it any number of times. So you can submit it, you can relocate, you can submit it. So multiple submissions are allowed till the deadline. Obviously, there is an exam deadline, the submission deadline. Before that, you can submit it any number of times. Also, you have access, to the content. So you can look at it multiple times, come back again, continue your submission of examination or the weekly assignments. However, when you talk about external, it is something which is similar to your class 10th or 12th or your undergraduate examination. So you need to prepare for it, you need to come, and there won't be any help provided. So you have to submit the entire set of questions with no help. So your memory and your observations and your learnings from this course will be tested there, and hence the weightage kept is 75%, and the scores generated is 75 plus 25. So this sum makes up your final course, which will be evaluated. Now there is another attached criteria to it, which says that in order to get a certificate, you need to meet certain individual criteria, which means the internal assessment need to be more than 10 out of 25, and the external need to be more than equal to 30. And above and all, finally also it needs to be more than 40. Okay, which means that there could be scenario where somebody got 15, somebody got 25, so the total becomes 40. However, since you are not meeting this criteria, but your total criteria is still meeting, but you, because of these marks, you won't be getting the certificate. All right. So it's really important that everybody acknowledges these subtle assessment milestones in order to fulfill them in order to get the certificate. Okay. All right. So if we see the week-wise journey, we'll just quickly browse over it. I mean, we have been discussing all of them in quite a detail. but it's almost a 3 months journey. So we'll just touch upon the basic heads. So we started with the introduction. We discussed a lot of aspects, how it can help the budding entrepreneurs. We understood from journeys of different entrepreneurs, and we had panel discussions. We also saw the methodology of innovation, or the seven concerns, which are required as a methodological process. And apart from that, we have seen the additional learning materials, which are basically helping us to understand more about that relevant content. And so as we progressed, we also progressed in terms of understanding through different case studies, of which one was solar oven case studies, and there were projects by IIT Hyderabad. So there were some live learnings as well. Okay. So there were also cases which were pertaining to different domains. So like we had solar oven, and then we have medtech success stories. We also talked about the human-centered innovation, wherein we had Ms. Shilpi and Ms. Dhayan. We talked about humanizing technology and business model canvas. And week 8 was about the sign incubators and the lean model canvas. We also had the startup journey of Atomberg, which started through BLDC fans, and then they are now venturing out into different other segments of the appliance industry. Okay. So the last set of 4 weeks, in the week 9, we talked about the incubation facilities at IIT Hyderabad, the kind of setup they have in terms of infrastructure, and CFHE, different segments of incubation and entrepreneurship, aiding the entrepreneurship. Week 10 was about from corporate to entrepreneurship. Week 11 was about the startup project presentations. Now this was basically segmented into, sorry, two parts. You had part 1 and you had part 2. So basically, week 11 was the part 1, wherein few groups had presented. Since they were group which were more in number, so this was divided into two segments. So week 12 is about the remaining set of project presentations by IT Hyderabad MD students. Okay. In terms of learning material as well, I think there is a link which has been provided where Ratan Tata, is given tips to create the perfect pitch deck. So ALMs have been provided all through the week-wise, content. ALM is basically okay. So this have been provided, which were there in the form of blogs. It were there in the form of websites. It was there in the form of uh, you know uh, website titles and names. It was also there in the form of PDFs as case study. So a lot of content was also given as a supplementary content, which depending upon your time, your interest, you can actually go through all of them. Okay, so coming to the typology of questions, apart from the two typology which we have often seen, which is the one option correct to multiple option correct. So in this case, you have multiple correct options. So what do you want in your milk tea? I can select ginger, I can select sugar, I can select tea masala. Okay, so there are more than one. Sorry, not equals to, more than one correct options. However, the radium button questions, you have only one correct option. Okay. Right. So again, this is one of the slides which I always explain quite detailed. This is about the marking of the multiple choice question, because in past we have seen that a lot of learners came back saying that why have I not been marked correctly, or there is some discrepancy in marking. So there are certain clauses. Again, these are some subtle rules which needs to be known in order to understand how the evaluation has been done or is being done. Okay. So let us take that, take any question. Yeah, which of the, and then we took up this question in the last, but again, let us try to understand it. The idea is to understand, how the marking is done. Okay, so all right. Now let us take the three scenarios. So there are one, there are two, and the third scenario. Okay. Now, if you see this question, we are basically asking is that which of these are in New Delhi? So the correct answers are A and B. Okay, Qutub Minar and Lotus Temple. The other options are Gateway of India and Charminar. Okay. Now, if I am attempting it as a learner, in the first scenario is that I select A and B and I get full marks. The other scenario is that it was a multiple choice question, but I selected A and I selected C. Now, if you see, although A is one of the correct options, but I've also selected C, which is not the correct option, the incorrect option. In this scenario, I will not get any marks. Option C says that, I selected only B and I submitted. Although there were multiple correct answers, but say for example, I had doubt or I thought that this is the only correct answer, I submitted one, which is the correct marks, the correct answer. So here, since I have not selected any incorrect, I'll get partial marks. Okay, so I think this is important because if you are also attempting your final examination, I think this bit of information makes a lot of relevance in terms of you aiming for the good marks. Okay, so if there is a doubt, if you feel that there could be some ambiguity or there is a probability that the other option might be correct or incorrect, keep a note of these rules and then you attempt a question. So rather than getting no marks, you might attempt it in a way that you might get partial marks. All right, great. Now, like I mentioned that we first do a content recap and then we proceed with our set of 10 questions. Okay. So I'll quickly run through because as I mentioned that many times a learner is not able to go through the content and it becomes really challenging for them to participate in the further set of 10 questions or even to set up a dialogue. So the idea is that we go through the content through snippets and to understand what was the team's work or what is the week wise lecture about. We get a basic understanding and then we try to attempt the questions. All right, so this was team 6. They had given their name as Scoop. It was reviewed by Professor Anuradha and these were the team members. Okay, our product Scoop helps caregiver parents who want to make feeding experience of their kids more playful and interactive to improve toddlers' eating experience and reduce their stressful meal times, unlike the sessions with usual mom. So basically, what they are doing is their aim is that they are making the feeding experience of toddlers more playful and interactive. Okay, so that is their problem statement, and even it incorporates the solution, which is basically Scoop, and we'll see how that solution is. So basically what they are doing is they are also at the same time helping parents, because as a parent, as a young parent, and especially with working parent, it becomes really really stressful in terms of giving that time where your kid is being little finicky or is running around, and so those times are really stressful. How you can generate that kind of playfulness so that the entire feeding experience becomes a lot more playful. Okay, so very very interesting area. I think a lot of people who are young parents, or who have kids around them, they will empathize, and they will align with this particular area. So let's see what they got. So that is the need identification they highlighted. So what happens is that if a child is not or not eating, so what happens is that there's a lot of food refusal. They will run around, they will be saying yes to the food, which means that the meal times will increase. Okay, and it will become stressful not only for the child but also for the parent. And then what parent do is that they seek help from distractions, which means that they will give a mobile phone, or they'll play a video in a laptop, television. So that is the kind of solution which they seek in terms of ensuring that the baby eats something. Okay, so likewise they had more such needs. So the problem statement they highlighted was, how might we help give caregivers and parents who want to make feeding experience for their kids more playful, interactive, to improve toddlers' eating experience and reduce stressful meal times, unlike times with the usual monotonous cutlery for the kids. So these are the value propositions. I will not be getting into that complete detail, but you can go through it once you are going through the content. Just give me a minute. I think even my toddler is traveling. I'll just do a check and I'll come back. Huh? Just give me a minute. Okay, so I'll continue. So this was their business model canvas, and as you see, there are certain terms in which each team or each startup had to highlight what is their channels, what are their partners, key areas, what are the customer segments, and how they will generate revenue. All these details have to be put in. Okay, so each and every team had done for their respective startup ideas, and these were some of the initial sketches. I really appreciate the kind of quality of sketches which the students were able to generate, because sketches are the first glimpses of your ideas. Okay, so it's always good that whatever idea you have, you try to sketch it out um, in a paper, and then start going around making mock-ups and prototyping. Okay, so they wanted to make it playful, so that is how they generated a lot of ideas in terms of how how through playfulness and how the child will interact with all these things. And then they even looked at the cutlery part of his cut, basically the spoons and forks, how it can be made more playful. This where you see there is a snail fork which they have tried to come up. So it's basically an add-on which can be added to fork, or like this propeller which has a spoon attached to it, so that's really. So the ideas are quick generation, how you can impart whatever you are trying to achieve. So it's a great attempt in terms of their initial ideation. And then they realize that if you infuse animals with the cutlery, it will excite the children a lot more. And that is where you see this first concept of how through an animal figure into a cutlery, how it can be made more playful. So they worked on it, they iterated it more, and they listed out some very strong features which were required in terms of having a good grip, having a spill proof tight lid, because many times they will shake it out and then a lot of mess can happen. And they also ensured that a feature of replaceable snoots. So they can have this one for slightly which are thicker foods, and then there was a nozzle one based, something which is much more of a fluid oriented stuff. So you can see, so these are the different options which they generated, and this is just a visualization of how the kid will basically interact with the product. Now, when you see, these were certain comments which were given by the reviewer. I will not be getting into the details, but just to give you a glimpse, like so they were basically sharing their insights from a business standpoint. So students were coming up with a product-based solution, but they said that in order to see a business out of it, you need to really rethink whether you want to, sell one particular product or a range of product. That is the kind of decision they should ideally make when you are getting into the startup journey. Okay, these were some other options, feedback. Okay, this was another team. Their idea was around the swag pack, which is basically a backpack for school children. So again, it was a team of multiple people. They had got mentors, and so let's see their final idea. How might we give right backpack to kids based on their needs and requirements? So they identified a problem wherein kids were actually dealing with a lot of voluminous bags, which is obviously because of a lot of books. They had to carry a lot of weight. The size of bag is bigger, and many times they carry lunch boxes which get spilled. So there are a lot of and gets a lot of dirtier, and then a better organization can be implemented. So these are the insights which they got after interviewing people and actually meeting those parents. And they realized that if they have and design a modular backpack, with a wide range of backpack offerings based on personal requirements of the kids. Okay, so these are the critical problems which they identified: size, customization, pockets, pockets, or we can say divisions. So you've got pencil box, you've got lunch box, then you've got set of copies. You might get carry a set of books. Okay, and many times you carry geometry boxes as well. So this range keeps on increasing. So uh, and obviously you have issues like weight distribution. If you see this child is carrying so much of bag, she had to lean forward in order to maintain that working angle, and see the kind of effort which the kid is putting in while climbing up. Okay, so they identified these problems and they said that okay, let's come up with a solution which would be fun and easy modular backpack, which will cater to the personal needs of each child, and they will have a range of backpack options. So see here, they have given range of options. Okay, and these were the solution features: customizable, personal, wide range, affordable, catering to everyone's needs, minimal component to ease production. Okay. These are some initial ideas. Like I said, in sketches gives you a very, very preliminary picture of what you would want to offer, which is often followed by 3D visualization and mockups and prototyping. So if you see, these are the different features. They had multiple segments of offering, and the bags was visualized in this particular fashion. So these are the three offerings which they said they will be giving for backpacks. So one is the low cost, the other is expensive, the other is premium. Obviously the higher segment, which is ranging from 2,900 to 3.5K, and then obviously we can see the range of features increasing. Obviously, with more price, features are increasing, but they also ensure that certain features which are their USP gets incorporated in each of them, along with some added features and add-ons. Okay, so we'll skip this part. Yes, so these were the different feedbacks which got generated after looking at their proposition, and the panel members who were the experts in their area, they suggested that they need to what are the things which they need to work around in terms of making their proposition more strengthened, so that they get more success in terms of tangible product and the kind of effort they are making in. This was the third team, which was we are content, and so let's read it, and you'll understand what they were offering. Our virtual reality learning module helps students from grade 5 to grade 10 who want to experience and opt for alternative learning environment. Alternative learning environment means other than the classroom environment, to increase their cognitive skills, unlike the traditional classroom learning, which promotes one size fits for all. Okay. So they were basically trying to use virtual reality, and the idea was to enhance learning approach, learning processes through the use of virtual reality. So they identified certain problems like there were less learning outcomes. The learning level is not same. Every kid is different. Every child is different. Their pace of understanding, their pace of understanding the concepts, their pace of attempting a particular problem. All these are different, and that is why their product or their solution was basically targeting that individualness of each and every student. They also did a competitor study, and they found out that company called Photon VR is basically working on this particular area, and which is again in the range of 5 to 10, and there are other players in the market which are also working. So it's basically a competitor study which people do, and this was the feedback given to them by the experts. So again, I mean, let's kind of skip this part because a lot of questions are generated from this as well. So whenever you get time, especially look at the feedback part. Feedback session is very very important from the perspective of examination as well, because these are some of the people who are sitting at the very very top heights. They have been investing, they have been a part of investor process, or they have been backing a lot of startups. So the kind of value they are generating by sharing their feedback is immense, it's very significant. And also in terms of examination, I think this will carry good weightage. Okay, so once you get an understanding of what the project they are offering, what is their problem and solution and their business model, specifically focus on the feedback session. Okay, and then we have team Tofa. The feedback was given by Mr. Devdeep, and this was the team which was working on this particular project. Their problem statement: promoting Indian handicrafted toys among the new age parents, and in turn build a market for Indian toys. So there are, aiding two aspects. They are trying to uplift the traditional craftsmen and the handicrafts people, and they are also trying to disrupt the Indian toy industry, by making use of that traditional craftsmanship, and reaching out to the new age parents. And these were the features of their product offering, that they want to create something which is safe for children, helps skill development, and promotes Indian culture and arts. Okay, so in the page they had created certain scope areas, like they decided that their age group will be between 3 to 5 years. uh, Also, they wanted toys to serve a purpose and a utility, and then talks about the price range, how they'll be selling it through own website as well as the e-commerce platforms. And there are certain glimpses of what kind of products they thought to incorporate with a utility value, but at the same time having a craftsmanship value. Hmm. Okay, so again, this is a set of products. It can be used for bangle holders, for stationery holders, something like a lamp, and then toys. They also utilize this term of beachhead market. I won't be getting into the detail of it because there's a direct question related to this in your live assignment. So it's better that you take a note of this term, and then you try to look for it and understand it. So this was the feedback given to them. Okay, and then we come on to the team Lucid, and it was about converse while playing and play while conversing, and their idea was to fill the generational gap, okay, between a parent and a young adult. Okay, so they were acting as a bridge of two major age groups, which they identified as parents and young adults. And how they bridge this is where their offering lies, Lucid. To encourage and facilitate effortless interaction between the individuals from all walks of life. Okay, so this was the problem statement they had built. How might we bridge the generational gap between parents and the young adults using gamification? Okay, so then they had a lot of insights. They interviewed a lot of people, and from there they realized that okay, these could be the means, or these are the insights. Just to name a few, the parents are quite active on WhatsApp and Facebook nowadays. They also play a lot of online gaming. They prefer audio or video calls over text. And if you talk about the young adults, they also want to talk more about their parent, about to the parents, but they also have very hectic life. They are busy with a lot of things. They have a lot of work to do as well. Okay, so this was their this model canvas, and these are the feedback which was being given to the team, saying about whenever you try to pitch your ideas, it's important to know, what the idea is, why should I care, and these are with respect to the. Yeah. So this is how the sessions got ended up, and now we start our final step of the 10 set of questions. Let me just see if we have the members available. Yeah, we do have. So I would invite both of you to please again pitch in with all these questions from whatever understanding you have got. Please try to attempt it, and we'll see how to address these questions. Great. Okay, so the first question is for the project scoop. Professor Anuradha highlighted which two problems that the team were trying to solve. These are the options: making meal times more fun, making automatic baby food, making toddlers more independent, and making toddlers dependent. So I think if you have even seen this presentation, you'll be able to address the questions very easily.
Uh, Hello. Hi.
Yes, please.
A and C, making mealtime more fun and making toddlers more independent.
Okay, okay. So, Sujay sir, were you able to go through the entire content, the lecture, or on the basis of the presentation you are trying to attempt it? Can you hear me, sir? Let me just check if Sujay sir is still there. Okay. Sujay sir, are you able to hear me?
So now in between there was a pause. I don't know, maybe because of this one.
Okay, okay. I just wanted to
Okay.
know whether were you able to go through the lecture content, or you are attempting this after looking at this presentation?
No, no, not yet, sir. I have to. It is based on your recap now.
Okay, okay, okay. Great, great. So even Poonam says A and C. Let's see the content. So what I've also done is that for every question wherein I had found out, I could support it with certain content recap, so that even for the learners it is quite easy to understand, relate, and validate. How the correct answer is being judged. So in her comment, she says that okay, yes, it is a large problem area. You are trying to solve two of them. One is making mealtime more fun, which both of you correctly said, and making toddlers more independent. Okay, the moment we add fun and playfulness, I think the moment the toddlers would want to interact with them and would want to do it. Okay, and then she says, I would say split the hairs and take one of them. So now she also says that instead of trying to attempt both, you take one of them, not the one you like, but the one which has larger attraction with the audience, one which will sell more and which will make more money. So again, this is all coming from the business standpoint. Okay. So she says that yes, you are dealing with two things, but from a business standpoint, she suggests that take one of them. Okay. So
Okay. Making the meal times more fun will be, I think,
hmm, hmm.
uh, because one or other way, kids are yeah, they are dependent only till some age. So in my view, one will be there.
Yes, sir, you were saying something. Sujay sir, I think again we have got some issue. Is it? I can't hear you
Yeah,
actually.
I think okay now can
Yeah, yeah, now it's better.
yeah. So I think first one, making meal times more fun. We need to choose. I think.
Okay. Sir, based on your experience, what do you see? I mean, you also align that, this is a big problem area, feeding the children, the young kids.
Yeah, maybe as per my observation, many a times because of that only, the parents are depending on TV, laptop, or the screen time is. Yeah, I mean it is like more screen time is because of this food issues only. Uh, I mean maximum time. So I think definitely it is a problem.
Correct, correct. Okay, okay. So yes, I mean, both of you attempted the very correct answers. It is A, making meal times more fun, and C, making toddlers more independent. Okay, and then further, the experts suggest that to the team that you can opt one of them in order to go through as a successful business option or a viable business option. Okay, so correct, great. Both these options are correct. All right. Referring to the project scope, it is advisable by Professor Anuradha to think about which factor if you want to sell more and make more money. Larger business larger value proposition, larger company investment, larger market exposure, or larger business opportunity.
I'm a little bit confused because I mean I think larger value proposition will be the answer. But I have heard with larger market exposure. But first preference will be larger value proposition.
And what would be your second preference?
Seeing it is a larger market exposure.
Any other preference?
No, no.
Okay, 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 okay. So let us see. I mean, what we have in terms of content. Okay. She says, I would seriously recommend think harder about what is the larger business opportunity. Do I want to sell one scoop to 100 people, or is there a larger business opportunity in selling five different toys to a smaller customer segment? So again, as she is coming from a business standpoint, so what she's been referring to is that the team needs to think more harder on the business opportunity and what is the larger business opportunity, right? So since if you see and relate it with the previous question, I mean this comment is again on the lines of that first of all you have to choose one of them going forward, and then you have to realize that whether just one product will help you gain enough traction and enough sustainability, or you need to see whether if you sell five different toys and then there is a larger business opportunity. So now if you see, the correct answer lies in option D, which is about larger business opportunity.
It means like what we call it as SKU, like one product with different types of something which will differentiate in a smaller. So like that we need to make it. What actually selling the five different toys?
So basically, her point was that if you have just one product and then you are reaching out to the masses, then obviously after a certain period of time it will get saturated. Now even a child, if you bring a new toy, I mean the child plays for maybe 1 or 2 days and then he'll break it apart and then he'll move on. Okay, so probably that is the insight and a viewpoint that she is coming, that instead of selling one that mug which had an animal face thing, you actually sell five different set. So what also happens, if you have seen a lot of market strategy says that there is limited edition of animal toys, and try to collect the entire fleet. So if they've released five different set of toys, and they will nudge you by triggering out a certain catch line that you collect the entire thing before it gets over. Okay, so she's kind of hinting to that. So you build that kind of market opportunity, that you are coming up with five different toys, and then instill that thought in the kids that you need to collect all. It's like when you go to McD, they have different set of toys, so it's more like collectible thing. They would want to collect all. So remember in our old childhood, I mean, we had Tazos. So although each one worked like the same, but then each one of had a different print. And so the idea was that child would collect each and every of that. It was not just about one toy, although it functioned in the same way, but then the idea was to to collect as many as possible. So I think that is the value she's trying to bring in this particular toy.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Great. So I believe, I mean, you are also familiar with Tazos. Were you I mean, it used to come in chips and lays.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Actually, I know about this one cards and all used to come. The cricket players and all. So with boomer and all.
correct, correct, correct. There was such a craze
Yeah,
of it, right?
yeah, yes. This one I know. Yeah, some Superman or some
Yeah, yeah. So
yeah, this
this
one
had
was on that. Yes, yes.
correct. It had certain graphics, and even I had a great set of connections. So I had this bottle. It was all filled with this, and you won't believe the children in
Yes,
school
yes.
would.
We used to collect.
Yeah, and the children during our times, we used to exchange, and it was like a barter system. It was a barter money system. So I gave them five set of Tazos. They will give them some other kind of thing, some other print of Tazos. So it was a huge, huge value and huge findings for us. So now if I see
Okay.
and look back at it,
Yeah,
it seems very funny, but in that age, it was like a
yeah.
dream to collect.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, okay. Let's proceed. Okay. As discussed in Project Swag Pack by Professor Palwalkar, choose one feature which would highlight backpack to parents apart from being a customizable canvas. Okay. So if you remember, we discussed about that backpack team and their project they titled as Swag Pack. So they had a feature of customizable, wherein they were saying that there are different pocket requirements, and they said that they will add those customizable pockets as well. So that was one of the feature. But he's saying that the team needs to choose one feature which would highlight the backpack to parents. So these features are washable, reusable, sustainable, or functional.
It's reusable.
Reusable. Okay. 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 Okay, so I don't think for this particular thing I have a reference image. Yes, I do have it. Okay, okay. So, so now again, if you will go through the content in detail, you will see that the parents also complained that the backpacks were getting dirtier because of the food or oil spills of the lunchbox, which also spoiled the books and bags. So what they did was they also talked about the kind of canvas or fabric which they will be using uh, for making the backpack, which will be washable. All right, and that is where, yes, yes, and that is where the correct answer lies. That from a parent standpoint, if you see, uh, you know cleaning of that dirt becomes a lot of challenge. So the kind of canvas they proposed using in their solution and the proposition, Professor Palwalkar said that if you present that product saying that it is washable and highlighting that as a feature, it will sell more. So again, from a parent standpoint, it carries a lot of weightage, and that's where this answer is the correct option. Okay, let's go further. The team swag pack ensured which of the following features in their low cost 800 to 500 offerings. So now if you remember, there was an image within.
Yeah, it's a secret packet and replaceable front panel.
Okay, so you are preferring this. How are you so sure about these two?
Because the GPS structure, I'm seeing this rare value in second this one, the second category, 1,500 to 2,900. And this GPS tracker will be in the third one, and uh, I haven't seen. I mean, I just seen the secret packet. Sorry, pocket and this one. That's sure. But replaceable front panel maybe there. That's why. As it's a multiple choice, two will be there minimum. So that's why I thought.
Nice, nice. Good logical, workflow of how to attempt the question. So let us look at the entire thing. So yes, as you correctly said, a replaceable front panel is there, secret pocket is there, and then modular backpack is also there. It's the base offering. And as you move up, they are also increasing the features. So the rain cover and GPS tracker they added in the expensive segment. And finally, in the premium, what they did was they also added voice assistant. So the more premium you are going, the more cost you are increasing. The bag is also getting more high tech, more smart. So these features like front panel,
But
yes, yes,
yeah, sorry. But this one with the GPS tracker, all those electronics components, is it washable with that, or whether it can be attached and whenever you are watching, that can be detached like that?
I didn't get your question.
I mean, bags are washable, right? The
Correct.
primary objective was it should be washable, but with GPS and integrating systems, I mean, they are attaching it, or I mean, some of it can be detached while washing it, and after that it
Correct,
can be
correct.
attached.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
like that.
So that is a very good observation. So these are basically trackers are removable. Okay. So they have provided a slit wherein you put in this when the child is going every day, and when you plan to wash it, you can remove this, so it can be washed easily. And if we also see one interesting aspect that these three their USP of front panel, modular back panel, secret pocket, they have tried to retain it in all these offerings. Okay. Besides that, they have added more features. So GPS and rain cover was added here. Panel detachable organizer was added here. So this added this, and then they added print customization. So you can have different prints, just like we were discussing about Tazos of different graphic options. You can in the premium version you can actually, maybe they will offer a different kind of patterns, so one can actually select whichever pattern they want to be printed, and one of those can be printed. Okay, so detachable organizer is also there. So here they've mainly added this printed customization and voice assistant feature. Okay, all right. So as you've correctly mentioned, the correct answer is secret pocket. and replaceable front panel. Great. Moving ahead, one of the important insight given by Professor, this is Professor Devdeep, okay, Purkayast, while discussing the project VR content of module 12 was about Zoom fatigue coming in. Okay, so what is this Zoom fatigue? The options you have are tiredness or burnout due to overuse of online platforms of communication, tiredness due to zooming in and zooming out of digital screen, tiredness while riding a Zoom car, and none of the above. So, what do you think? What could be the right answer? Zoom fatigue.
Maybe second option B, tiredness due to zooming and out.
Okay. So you think it is about option B. Okay. Okay. So let me give you a hint in this. So this team was basically working on VR content, okay, in which they were utilizing virtual reality, and then they were trying to make the learning, and they were trying to enhance the learning and knowledge using virtual reality. Okay. Now, what Professor Devdeep was also referring to was the phase where we were going through COVID era. Okay. All right. So let me first share this comment, and then we'll see what is the correct answer. There is a tool aspect and there is a content aspect. There is already Zoom fatigue coming in. Study why Google Glass did not take off as mass. Why does the experience look like? Just go deeper in the value proposition. So he is basically referring to the phase of COVID era, wherein a lot of communication was happening through online communication apps. And one of those applications was Zoom. So if you remember, a lot of meetings, a lot of webinars were happening through Zoom. We were talking about Zoom calls, video conferencing. So when people started onboarding, because of the COVID, when everything was being, translated into the digital screen aspect, people started using many platforms, including Zoom. So a term was generated out of it, which was basically about being, tiredness, worry, and burnout associated with the overuse of online platforms of communication, particularly video telephony. The name derives from the cloud-based video conferencing term, online chat software, Zoom, but the term can be referred to fatigue from other video conferencing platforms. So that could be Google Meet, that like the one which we are using. You've got Skype, you've got WebEx from Cisco, and likewise. You've got also Microsoft Teams. All right. So now, if you, based on this, what do you think? What would be the right answer? Yes, the right answer is option A, which is about the fatigue or burnout due to overuse of online platforms of communication. Like I said, although the term has been derived from the software Zoom, but then it could be because of Google Meet, it could be because of Skype, it could be because of Cisco, it could be because of Teams, and the list is huge. Okay. So the overtime and the overuse was basically leading to a lot of stress and anxiety, with people having Zoom calls for more than 2 hours, 3 hours continuously.
Yes. Okay.
Although even our meets are also approximately 2 hours, so it creates a lot of burnout and tiredness. So what do you think? I
Okay.
mean,
This one,
yes.
sorry.
was just seeking out your opinion.
Uh,
I mean, do you think this duration of
uh,
2 hours is good enough, or should we have some breaks in between, or it should be reduced to 1 hour?
yeah, that's fine. No issues in that because it's easy to work, not a big deal. And also, I think minimum of that much is required because every time if some new user is or participant is there, then he also if repeated users or the repeated participants are there, then you can skip that the first all these related to correct answers and all.
Hmm. Okay, okay. So I got your
Yeah,
point.
new users, so I think it is necessary to.
Actually, what I observed was that
Hello?
in many of these meetings, at least one person was new and they were attending it for the first time. Like even in today's session, ma'am was attending for the very first time, and even in the previous session, there was a learner
Yes.
who was attending it for the first time. So we do get learners. So I
Yes,
was
every
just
time.
yes, yes. Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, that's why
Hmm.
if later you pause or anything, so sorry.
No, no, no. That is perfectly fine. That is perfectly fine. Okay, okay. So great. I think, but we all agree that the online meetings when it stretches to
Yeah,
the
and
whole.
just want to.
Yes, yes. Sorry, I'm finding your
Okay,
audio.
sorry, there is a. Just want to. Can you hear my voice now?
It's not coming very clearly. I mean, there are pauses and breaks in between.
Yes, the network issue.
Yeah, I think it is because of network issue. Maybe what you can do is you may type in
Yeah,
if you have
sorry.
any question, or if you have any comment, you can please type it down because there are certain issues.
Okay, can you hear me?
No, no, no. There is a lot of disturbance coming in. Okay. So meanwhile, what we'll do is we'll proceed to our next question. By the time Sujay sir is replying to us, I think we have got a reply. No, we have not got network issue. Okay, fine, sir. No problem. No, no problem. Um, we'll continue our session. Maybe you can mute yourself as of now. Whenever there's a when we are discussing about the answer options, you can speak. You can attempt speaking about it. Okay. So this question is again by Professor in the context of Professor Devdeep and the project TOFA. As discussed by Professor Devdeep Purkayas in the project TOFA in Module 12, he mentioned on focusing on the process because if you follow the process, chances are that you may hit dash. So it is one of the fill in the blank type of question, which can again be a part of your final examination. So the options are failure, dead end, success, and none of the above. Professor Devdeep he said that one should focus on the process, because if you follow the process, the chances are you may hit dash. Failure, dead end, success, or none of the above.
It may be dead end or dead end.
Okay. So I just repeat the question once again. As discussed by Devdeep, Professor Devdeep, he mentioned on focusing on. So he said that
Hello?
one needs to focus on the process, because if you follow the process, chances are that you may hit dash. Okay. So
Dead end maybe.
okay. Let me tell you what he said. So he was after looking at the proposition by the team, he said that, I think it's a brilliant idea. No, no. So what he said that normally he does not comment on anyone's idea, and why the reason is that, I may think it's a brilliant idea, but it may actually fail. I may think it's a stupid idea, and someone might make a unicorn out of it. So I focus on the process, because if you follow the process, chances are you may hit the success. And I actually find it very interesting. I mean, if you browse upon and think upon these two statements, it could be true for a lot of use cases. So as an individual, or as a venture capitalist, or as an investor, it becomes really hard to make a judgment call at the very onset. Many times, people might feel that, it's a very stupid idea, but then they might see, uh, use cases where those ideas have actually gone up and made a unicorn. And then, the idea which they might have felt that, it is a brilliant idea, but then, it could actually fail. So he said that, he focuses on the process, how the team have been able to, do the customer discovery, how they have been able to find out, what the customer needs are, problem identification part, and what kind of solution they are offering. So he focuses on that entire process, and he says that, if you follow the process, the chances are you may hit success.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so the correct answer is success. We'll go to our seventh question. Again, this is about Team Tofa. Again, let me tell you, it was about, no, I won't tell you, because it is about, the question is about that. As discussed, Team Tofa of Module 12, their vision is to uplift traditional Indian dash market. The options are toy,
Right.
online gaming, messaging, and
Yeah,
cyber.
toy only, toy money.
You seem to be very confident in this, huh?
Yes.
Okay, okay, let's see the correct answer. Yeah, so if you see, I mean, it speaks about toy. Okay, so uplifting traditional Indian toy market, and that was the vision of Team Tofa. What they did was they were also seeking about the utilizing the handicraft sector, and then making products which had certain utility, and the product offering had these features. So as you correctly said, the correct answer is toy. Well done. Let's proceed further. The team Lucid is aiming in bridging the generational gap between dash and dash using gamification. Options are parents, grandparents, young adults, and none of the above.
Parents and young adults.
So that was also very quick and very fast. Parents.
Okay.
So you have actually looked at the content recap quite thoroughly, huh?
No, not yet. Yeah, recap only.
Okay, okay. So let's see the lucid what they doing is. So their problem statement was how might we, often seen as HMW statements. Uh, how might we bridge the generational gap between parents and young adults using gamification? Okay. So again, the two segments were parents and the young adults. Okay. So you have correctly attempted this question too. Correct answers are parent and young adults. Well done. Great. So now coming on to our second last question. As mentioned by Professor SK in Project Lucid, again, Lucid is about bridging the gap. Okay. In what ways can you articulate your elevator pitch? Okay. So he was talking in the sense that you now don't get a lot of time with the VC or the person who is investing, and hence the term elevator pitch was coined, wherein within a very small duration you have to pitch, you have to mention all the important points of your startup and your idea. So while you are talking about elevator pitch, what are the options or what are the things which you keep in mind that within that 2.5 2 minute you need to speak about them? The options are: concept should talk about what the idea is. Idea क्या है? Concept should talk about the top three problems. The concept should talk about the present market competition, and the concept should talk about how it will make money.
Yeah, it's A and C.
Paisa. Okay, so you say it is A and it is C. Okay, okay, okay. So now we have to see with respect to two lenses. The first lens is that we need to see it from the perspective of an investor, and the second lens is that we need to see from the perspective of what Professor SK had mentioned in terms of in the context of Project Lucid. So let us look at what comments he was making. What would really help is articulate your concept which talks about what idea it is, why should I care, how will I make money. Any VC would want to know how they will make money. Have one or two concrete examples. You must have heard about elevator pitch. If you can articulate in one slide not more than 2 to 2.5 sentences, that would force you to crystallize what you really care about and what you are pushing for. Okay. So from the context of VC, what he's saying is that you need to tell them what the idea is, and how will you make money and why should I care. So if you look at the correct answers, these are option 1, which you also mentioned. However, it talks about option D, how it will make money. So I do agree that if I'm an investor, maybe I'm that investor wherein I might want to know what the competition is in that segment. But from his perspective for this particular team, he mentioned about the A and D options. All right. So, but there could be a VC who might want to know, what the competition are. So that is also there. But with respect to the course and week specific content, the correct answers are A and D.
Yeah, like while answering this question, my I was thinking like when you know your competitors and how much market is acquired by the competitor, so that will define how much money I can make out of it. So like that that was the thing. So that's why.
Correct, correct. Even I do align that, for certain investors, the competitors could actually be very, very critical point, that, whether what kind of competitors are, what is their offering. And sometimes the product has a USP because of the competitor in itself, because they are trying to identify the gap in the competitors. The moment you try to plot and you try to find your niche area, that time also you try to create your USP. So from a certain standpoint and value, I think this could also be correct. But then again, coming to the very basis of it, that what he is suggesting to this team, so these two are the correct answers. Otherwise,
Okay, okay,
it could be this as well. So now coming on to
okay,
our,
okay.
yeah, so now coming on to our very final question, and the question is, the team VR content and competitor study mentioned about Photon VR, which is about Dash. If you remember, we also touched upon Photon VR very briefly. There was a slide about it.
Yeah, virtual reality in school education.
Okay, so the options are photo clicking app, virtual reality and gaming in school education, and augmented reality in higher education. And you think what which one is the correct one?
Uh, Virtual reality in school education.
Okay, okay,
5 to 10, 10
yes.
standard, I think. Fifth.
Okay, okay. Let us look at it. Photon VR, Learn Science app, which is basically a virtual reality augmented headset. Okay, great. And designed for students of grade 5 to 10. Correct. Our mission is to make education exciting, interesting, and joyful with an immersive experience. We are giving platform to expose your child to a world where it would have been physically impossible to travel through. Okay, so this is their website. If you want also, you can also go through, and as you correctly mentioned, virtual reality in school education is the correct answer. If you proceed, this is the correct option. Well done. Okay, okay.
Yeah, sir, I have a couple of things about the course actually.
Please, please,
Uh,
yes. I would want to note a lot of things,
yeah,
because I want to, even make suggestions to the team. So please, sir, please tell.
No, no, not to the team actually. The thing is, one thing is, one mail I have got an announcement is also there, like that link is given for the notes, but when I try to open that, it just goes to the I mean, course details, not about, it's not showing any notes or anything. I didn't get it through that link actually, which is in the announcement also for the notes of this course. They have mentioned that you click on this link, but that link is directed towards the course details only. No, there is no notes or anything.
So could you tell me what specifically was mentioned in the mail?
Sorry?
What was mentioned in the mail exactly? Matlab, what kind of link they were offering?
Notes only, notes. Course.
Is it possible for you
Uh,
to share a screen and show me your exact mail?
okay, I will just, because I couldn't take a screenshot, but I can read it, I think.
Yeah, yeah, please.
Yeah, yeah, dear learners, lecture notes are available now and can be accessed on the following links. And uh,
Is
so
it
only that
possible?
much and link is given.
Okay, is it possible for you to copy that link and paste it here so that I can also try to open it?
Okay, fine. I'll do it now.
Okay. So this was one thing. What was the other thing you had in mind?
Yeah, one more thing is like in this whole course we studied about it's about understanding incubation and entrepreneurship, and like somewhere I just the course they taught us about incubation by this IIT Hyderabad and all, they are having some incubations. They shared their experience while, I mean, how the incubation works and all, and how they can generate revenue out of it. All those things they explained, and most of the this one videos are about content was about startups only. But somewhere I think it's in my view we need one concluding the session where all the things separately. I mean, how the incubation works, or what is the role and how the structure should be. All these things in a separate this one, and the about startups only we can have some session which can clearly tell about these things. I mean, concluding session you can say by taking all the insights from the this one speakers. So somewhere it can be concluded with some points and all. It will be, I think, yeah, it will be a great help for us, for me actually. Hello. Hello. I cannot hear your voice, sir. Actually, so your audio is muted. It's mute. It's in mute.